Drug addicts are carrying wounds for the rest of the country. In a drug addict, you see all these forces landing in that person. Drug addicts they're bearing truth. They're saying something about who we are now. They have something to say. I don't want to listen to a doctor. I want to listen to you. The world needs to hear you. Why is this happening? Why is it getting worse? Cui bono? Who benefits from this thing? Who's actually making money off the tragedy? Who makes more money if you don't get better? And you start breaking that down, and things start looking really pretty dark and pretty sinister. What I started realizing was the 12 steps need to morph into something new. Don't mess with the big book. Don't amend anything. Don't take a word out. Don't add a word. Write a 4-column inventory. Don't say sorry when you make amends. Do all of it just so. But when you get into that 12th step, you need to give them some context to understand how they became addicts. And you need to give their parents some context. You need to look at the way addiction often starts because some guy's going through a divorce and he's all shook up and he goes to the doctor and he gets a benzo script. And the doctor never tells him, if you take this as prescribed for a year and try to come off, you might die. Because the doctor doesn't have to. Doctor doesn't even have to know that legally. That's a big thing. Or giving children stimulant medication and wondering why they become addicts. Okay, these are things that need to be talked about. In this room right here, there are people who have significant track records in helping addicts get better. And when I say get better, I'm talking recovered, and I'm talking unmedicated, I'm talking no mat, I'm talking people that get better, they don't take drugs anymore, they go to school, they raise their kids, they do all these wonderful things, and none of those people ever get acknowledged by the larger world. The larger world is acting like those people don't exist. They act like I don't exist. But one of the things that they do, besides acting like we don't exist, is they control the language. Okay, this is one of the main ways that we get marginalized. They dictate the language. Notice that. Medicated assisted therapy as opposed to harm reduction. I think Suboxone's a great harm reduction drug, but you tell me it's a therapy, no. No, it's not a therapy. Don't kid yourself. Or when we hear that recovery is what you want it to be. Boy, that's playing fast and loose with language, isn't it? Well, what I want it to be is I get to smoke weed and I drink beer when the Patriots play, but I'm in recovery from opiate addiction. Right? Yeah, you let me define it anyway. We can't talk anymore. But the big word that they totally blacklist, the word that is never uttered in an academic setting or a clinical setting, is the word recovered. Hell, you don't even hear it in AA very much. And that's the word that we got to get out there. We got to preach recovered, not to each other, and not just to the people in AA who want to burn an effigy of you. We got to preach recovered in the classroom. We got to preach recovered at the dinner table. You would think that the world, in the midst of the opiate crisis, would say, shit, look, they're getting better. But they don't. What the system acts like is, well, you know, some people are kind of on the religious fanatic side, and you can do that, or you could do MAT, or you could go to church with your grandmother. You know, they act like recovery is just an option. You know, it's one choice amongst many. For me, recovery is not an option. You know why? Because addiction was not an option. I didn't choose to be an addict. I do not want to die of this thing. I did not want my parents to bury me. So recovery is not an option for me.